Amazing. Our paths were providentially meant to meet. And I wasn't on the cruise, but somebody that knew you on the cruise would tell me about you and tell you about me. So God had a way. People think they got to move to a certain city to be successful. If it's meant for you, God is going to do it. And I tell you, man, your humility, your being here today, it means so much. It means so much. So many places. You could have waited till you came in 20 say, if y'all want to see me, just y'all pay y'all $25. But you came to worship, my brother. So what I want to let you know, you might come here at the end of the month for a show this one time, but you got a brother for life. You got a friend for life supporter. Would y'all stand to y'all feet and welcome to the Faith House, Mr. Danny Clay. Medea's class reunion. This the man. Ask me, was you the little Luther or the big Luther? I say he just got Luther down. Give him a hand, however you want to go and flow. You can do it up here, back here. Have a seat, amen.
Church, I so appreciate you. I so appreciate you. Man, this is big for me. You know, I'm going to say this. You was talking about the cruise. How, Walter, I never knew how God was going to use our meeting. She told me so much about you, man. It's amazing. She was like, your love is infectious. You know, she was like, you are like one of her best friends. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not one to believe that a man and a woman can be best friends. I really wasn't, but I can see now how you are her best friend. You are infectious, brother. God bless you. And I thank God. I thank God. First of all, God is the head of my life, and without him, I am absolutely nothing. And let me say this, with him, I'm still absolutely nothing. He is everything. And I don't get in his way when he wants to bless how he want to bless. I'm just thankful because y'all, some of y'all seen me. I was discovered in 2007 by Steve Harvey on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. I sung for 45 minutes, 2 days in a row. And that was an amazing blessing. And then I toured with Steve for like almost 4 years. And in 2009, let me show you, sometimes God will cause your blessing to come to you. So get out of the mindset of thinking you got to chase you got to do this. When God do it, it's done. I never sent Tyler Perry a postcard. I never sent him anything. I don't look like Idris Elba or Denzel. I'm 5'7.5", almost 5'8". A little bit on the overweight side. Even got a little keloid on the back of my head. And I used to be real self-conscious about that. But 1 Samuel 16:7 said, God don't look upon man as man look upon man. Because man looketh on the outward appearance. God looketh on the heart. So I thank God that he looked on my heart. Even when I graduated in high school in 86, went to the United States Marine Corps. I was a legal services specialist. And my daddy died before I could get to know him. We lived in the same city. I didn't know my daddy's middle name until I saw it on the obituary. My dad has never wished me a happy birthday in my whole life. I have never had a Merry Christmas from my daddy in my whole life. But God kept me. I loved my daddy. Let me say this. I loved that guy. I call him my short dude. I loved my short dude. I did. I looked up to him. I loved him. My dad had a certain style of dress. I'd never seen him too much in a pair of jeans, but my daddy would dress like this on a normal. He was a jazz man. He was real cool. He was a drummer in a jazz band. And I looked up to my daddy. And so when I was in the Marine Corps, my mom and my daddy, up through my life, they was always beefing. And so I went to my daddy when I was getting ready to go. Well, he never came to see me do anything, Pastor. Little League Baseball, anything that a daddy was supposed to be there for his son. Played football in high school for the first time. Daddy never came to see me do none of that. Went to the prom, graduated from high school on time. Daddy didn't come to none of it. And I would go to Daddy, I'm doing this, that, and the other. He wouldn't be there. And so when I graduated 1st Battalion, Alpha Company Platoon 1053 in 22 August 1987, I looked out on the parade deck at Parris Island, South Carolina. I saw my mama, stepdaddy, my sister, my brother, my grandmother. I saw my daddy. My mom and my stepfather went to my daddy, and they got him to come to see me graduate from Marine Corps boot camp. And I'm marching and crying at the same time. So if I get a little emotional, y'all forgive me, because but understand this, I'm all man. And it's okay for a man to cry sometimes. You know, I'm all man. I don't need nobody's permission to be a man. I'm a man. So my daddy was there to see me graduate from boot camp in the United States Marine Corps. And so I went to my daddy before I went to California. I was a legal services specialist, a legal secretary. And so I went to my daddy before I flew out to California for schooling. And I said, look, I don't care what happened between you and my mama. You still my daddy. I used to call you Al. That was my daddy's name. I don't have my daddy's last name. His name was Alvin Gibbs. My name is Danny Clay. I had my mom's maiden name. I used to call him Al. And he squatted down when I was like 3 years old and told me, look, he didn't call me Danny, he called me Deke. To this day, nobody calls me Deke. My daddy called me Deke, and that was it. He squatted down in front of me and said, Deke, don't call me Al no more. You call me Daddy. I didn't understand what that meant, but from then on, guess what I called him? Daddy. And so I loved that dude. And so when I was in California for school, I had a brother, my oldest brother, Michael Clay. He was in the Marines too. And I hadn't seen him over years, so we got together, and it was good, you know, yada, yada. But he came over. I was having duty one day, and I was getting off work, and Mike told me I need to come upstairs and he talked to me. I'm like, cool. So I go upstairs, and he said, I need you to be strong. Now, we got a grandmother, mutual grandmother that lived with our mother. She saw me coming into the world. I wasn't born in the hospital. I was born in the house. And so my grandmother helped deliver me. And so long story short, my brother said, I'm like, what's wrong with, we called her Mama. So I'm like, Mike, what's wrong with Mama? He said, ain't nothing wrong with Mama. He said, I need you to be strong. Well, what? We didn't have the same daddy, by the way. Mike said, your daddy just died. He died of a heart attack, massive heart attack, playing a game of spades. And so I lost it, man. And long story short, I walked away from the Marine Corps. I used my little kilos to get up out of there. And because I just didn't care about nothing. And before I got out, I was seeing, I always wanted to be loved. A lot of men don't want to admit that. Some women have a problem admitting that. But this tough shell, I just always wanted to be loved. And so I was seeing different people, but this one particular young lady introduced me to crack. It wasn't her fault. I made the bad decision to use it. I've never, ever used no kind of drugs. And so I got on crack cocaine before I got to the Marine Corps. And I came home from the Marines with a crack addiction. And it culminated in 1990. I committed an armed robbery, aggravated assault, and simple assault. And I have served a total. I'm going to show you how good God is. I'm talking about my father this morning. I served a total of 13 years and 9 months in the Georgia State Prison System. And I got to the point of being suicidal. I was diagnosed with depression, and I was going to kill myself. Short and point. But you know what? I'm scared of pain. I can't cut me. That's what you might cut. I just can't do that. I set everything up. They gave us razors in incarceration. I took the razor out the thing and had a little 2-man room, closed door, put the towel up on the door. And I was going to cut myself and bleed out and just lay in the bed. Couldn't quite bring that needle to that razor to my skin. I can't do it. I just can't. Listen, I don't even like giving myself a shot. I told you about that. So I'm here. I didn't kill myself. I thank God. God kept me. Man, God kept me. I prayed and asked God to give me a second chance at life. Let me just tell you what God did. This ain't about me. It's about what God has done. I prayed and asked God to give me a second chance at life. Because I could always sing, and I was somewhat of an entertainer. And I asked God, if that's the gift you've given me, please make a way for me to use it. Make a way for me to go home. That was in 2001. I was supposed to, the second time I was in prison, I was on a parole violation. I was supposed to be there no more than 3 months. They told me to do 11 years on a parole violation. And I sued my way out of prison. God gave me favor. I would write attorneys, and the attorneys like, you got a good point that they violated your due process, yada, yada, yada. But if you don't give us $5,000, there's nothing we can do. I didn't have $5. But let me tell you what I did have, a relationship with God. I had a relationship with God. And I'm going to tell you, you can read about it in the Bible, but in your life, I guarantee you, if you will dare trust God, he will be a way maker for you in your individual life. And there are things that you will and probably have gone through, and you look back and you know there was no man that got you here. It had to have been the Almighty God, not a God, but the Almighty God. And so I was supposed to have come home in, I think, August of 2011. And when I found out what the parole board had done to me in 2004, I did my own legal work. I filed my own writ of mandamus against the Georgia State Department of Pardons and Paroles. I filed it in December. I found out about it in September. I read law and filed informal paupers, poor persons papers in December of 2004. Let me tell you, God is so good. I walked out of prison May 9, 2005. May 9, 2005, I walked out of prison. After serving 6 years and 9 months on a parole violation, 7 years for the actual crime prior to that. So that makes a total of 13 years and 9 months that I've served in prison. And God cocooned me the whole time I was there. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I walked in prison a man and came out a better man. A better man. Not a bitter man, but a better man. And I thank God. How many of y'all got somebody in your family on drugs and or alcohol, or out there, the black sheep of the family? If you got a black sheep person in your family, raise your hand. Yeah. And this is the thing that I've done consistently when I toured with Steve Harvey. I got an opportunity to say something before I sung, and this is what I'm going to tell y'all. Tell people the same thing. Take your mouth off of those people. Take your mouth off. He ain't nothing but a crackhead. He ain't nothing but an alcoholic. She ain't nothing but a... Keep them nut and butters in your mouth. Keep all them nut and butters in your mouth, because you don't know at what point God is going to turn their life around. I am a poster child to that, because at one point they were saying he ain't nothing butter. All them nut and butters don't mean nothing, because God turned my life around. So you seeing the poster child to the turnaround. So I got blessed to tour with Steve Harvey for about 3-4 years, and I performed at the Steve Harvey Hoodie Awards. I'm the only person that's ever performed at the Hoodie Awards consistently without a recording contract. God is so good. And I was invited by Tyler Perry to tour with him, and Steve Harvey called me and told me about it. I was working at a car dealership, and he asked me, could I act? And I'm like, yeah, I did some acting in high school. I was in a play called Little Abner. Played this little guy with a green face named Evil Eye Fleeger. And he has supernatural powers, and when all he would do, he could freeze you. He go, and everything freezes. And I thought I was like bad. I was bad, boy. Evil Eye Fleegle. So God gave me favor, man, and I went to Tyler Perry Studios. I drove there, and he hired me on the spot. Normally, there's a process that they decide they're gonna use you. He hired me on the spot. The first thing he asked me to do was sell him a car, so that told me him and Steve Harvey had been talking. And then he asked me, could I sing him a Luther song? Okay, cool. So I sung him a Luther song, and a lot of people were sitting on the row with him. Cassie Davis, Cheryl Pepsi Riley, Chrissy Collins, who played my wife in the play, David and Tamala Mann. And so, some of his regulars were sitting on the row, and they had a big spotlight on me. I couldn't see nobody. It was dark in his private theater at Tyler Perry Studios. And, he said everybody was smiling. He said, I made everybody smile. And I'm nervous, I'm nervous. But I dare to believe God. I ain't got time to be scared, because, see, I know God is doing something. I ain't got time to be scared. So called me back in and, called the whole group. It was like 100 people there. And let me tell you something, fellas. There's nothing left-handed about me other than the fact that I write and I use my left hand. But in terms of my sexuality, there's nothing left-handed about me. But I'm going to say this. There were some of the best-looking brothers there. Ladies, brothers, all that. They were just there, man, cut up. One brother had a net shirt on. I'm like, okay. I got on a 3-piece Steve Harvey suit. And everybody else, because I want to be, when you want something, look the part. When you want something, you got to look the part. I learned that from Steve. So anyway, and brothers, it was some of the baddest sisters there. OMG. It was some of the baddest sisters there. Woo! Woo! Yeah. Kashatara. La la. And so, okay, I'm back, cuz. So, and so they doing their little dialogue. I'm watching these professional people. And I say that to say this. A lot of times we disqualify ourselves based upon our self-perception. We don't think we look good enough. Let me tell you, when God is predestined you to do something, it's not based upon your human qualifications. It is not based upon your height. It is not based upon your stature. It is not based upon your social economic condition. When God got purpose for you, there's no devil in hell that can prevent you from getting it. Because I got an inside secret for you. As much as the devil would try to prevent it, he don't know how God is going to do it. Because he's a created being. He's not infinite. He's finite. So all he can do is just guess. I think he's going to